Hi, everyone. Mike Plachter, that flipping accountant, and welcome to Flipped Off, my podcast. And I just wanted to introduce a good buddy of mine, Sean Manning with Realty Connect. Just a top producer. You started, a year ago, less than a year ago?
Yeah, I started about 9, 10 months ago, yeah.
Oh my God. And you're doing, 15 million in volume. I mean, some people would love to just list one house in their first year and surpass that significantly. Dude, that's awesome stuff. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So, my name's Sean Manning. I'm with Realty Connect USA. I'm the founder and principal of the Over South team over in Realty Connect. I have five agents on my team right now. Everybody's hustling and bustling. It's still a good time, no matter what you read on Instagram. It's still a good time for buyers and sellers. It's probably one of those unique time periods where it actually somehow works for everybody. But I'm 39 years old, married, 3 young kids, and just established my my real estate career. I shouldn't say established, but I got going pretty quick and hit the ground running and trying to be fully established. I'm still very, very green and new to the real estate side of things as far as the buying and selling. I've had a few investments and buying and selling houses on the client side as opposed to, or more on the investor side. And then I decided to get my license, and here we are.
No, it's good stuff. How did we meet? We met when I was doing my rental back in April or
This is a
March.
funny story.
You just started out, right?
Yeah, I just started out. I was maybe a month or so in, and a good buddy of mine, he went to one of your flips in Bellport, and he met you there. I've known him a while. He's a good dude. He's a client of mine and a good friend.
Yeah, he's a guy. Yeah, he's a guy.
He gave me your contact info. I remember reaching out to you just to see, same like now. We talk all the time and just hungry and trying to generate business. How you doing it? And it kind of took off from there. And then I had it might have been an off-market listing or something out in the Shirley Mastic area that you came out there with your contractor at the time, and then the rest is history. Keeping in touch, and you've been great. Bouncing stuff off me, and I could say this not just because it's your podcast, but I'm grateful to have you in my circle, and I mean that.
Dude, thanks, man. No, he's a good guy. Your buddy, he's a good friend. So it's funny. I was doing the renovations in March or something. It was freezing cold out one day.
Yeah.
Middle of the winter. And I posted on my Instagram hey, anyone wanting to meet up my rental property?
That's what it was.
Off the cuff. Yeah, just off the cuff. What's going on? Anyone meet out there? I'll be out there for an hour. Yeah. So he's the only one who responded too. So he met me out there. It's funny. I get to the property. I didn't have the key.
That is awesome.
I forgot what it was. My contractor screwed it up or something, and I thought I had the key, but it was for an old lock or whatever. Mm-hmm. So me and him we stood in the backyard freezing our balls off for 45 minutes just talking, just bullshit and stuff. He's a nice guy.
No, he's a good dude.
Yeah, so tell me how'd you get started? Because you mentioned the investing side. I don't think did you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? What got you into real estate?
Well, it's funny. More of a family dynamic thing than anything else. But I could never really sit still with where we lived, and I was living kind of the type of lifestyle where it's all right, we like this, I got to jump on it. I can be very impulsive, and sometimes that's a positive trait. It's not always so negative. But I bought a house and sold it on the quicker side and thought I would live in it. It was a house that had the potential for rental income, and at that point, I really just had a buddy, staying in the apartment that was in the house, and I'm all right, if I could do this, not making much money, how great would it be to do this full scale? So I ended up selling that property, finding another one, buying it and selling that property. And then finally it was just like, my wife was the one, kudos to her. I've said it like 15 times on random podcasts and interviews and stuff. And she was actually the one, it was during COVID. This is pretty much most people's story lately. Everybody's during COVID, something happens. You're walking around the kitchen, working out, lifting, pulling spring jugs. Like we were all living like Neanderthals. And she's like, why don't you get your freaking real estate license? Like, you get into something, and I'm the type of person. My wife's best friend says it all the time. She's a doctor, lives upstate. I'm actually working with them now, trying to find their first house, trekking back and forth up there. But she says, like, she's a doctor, and when my little one was sick, like, you did so much research and homework on what she had going on that you were fucking spitting out stuff more than the doctors were. So, like, that's always how I am. It's like I try to learn a little bit about everything. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe you're right. So I get my real estate license. I took a lot longer with the course than I would have liked to. It really just not managing my time the right way and realizing how good it could be. Got my license. I interviewed with a few different places. There were a couple of teams that were trying to recruit me to get me to go there, and none of their what they had to offer really it was that enticing for me to just jump and do it. So I had a babysitter who was watching my kids, and she had a relative who worked in Realty Connect and was one of their mentors, and was like, Realty Connect, it's a great company. It's they have agents all over the place, and I've seen the signs and stuff. And they, she was basically like, if you want to get into real estate, if you want to get into this company, you have to go under one of their mentors, because they typically only take seasoned agents. It's a good split. It's a great company. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So I went in there, and I worked. I was, not on paper, but unofficially, she was good to me, and she's like, if you can knock out 3 deals, we're done, and then you can go on your own. So she had her little team, I guess you can call it. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. She had a team that she just kind of looked after and marketed, but she didn't really like promote it. She's super successful and had a long career. So it was kind of funny and not really awkward, but after knocking out the 3 deals quick, I did it in like a month and a half. I actually asked Realty Connect if I could start my own team. And they were kind of like, all right, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense right now. You're still learning, but we can kind of tell how you are, and you're going to hustle. We're not going to stop you, but just be careful. And, so I actually asked her if she would be on my team. So now after her mentoring me and showing me the ropes and helping me out, and, you're not going to teach me how to talk to people. You're not going to teach me how to be personable or not. That I've acquired 39 years of living, but the ins and the outs of the computer, the aspect of it, and the platforms and the search engines and just MLS and One Key, that is a little bit different than sitting, on your couch playing on Zillow. So she showed me that, and I'm grateful for that. But then I took her and a few of her agents onto my team. And, some of them have moved on and doing other things, and some of them I still keep in touch with, but I was very grateful for that. And then that's pretty much it. Now I have the team that I have now, finished number 1 in the company last quarter, set a record pretty cool. It's not, to everybody watching and listening, it's not being cocky. I'm just opening up to you, set a company record for the highest quarter that they've had. So that was pretty awesome. And I'm anticipating and hoping that I finish the year, still in that number 1 spot. And I'm competitive, but I wouldn't be as competitive if there weren't so many just straight up killers in this company who just rush it. And and a lot of them, I could tell, like when I first got there, I'm like, I want to be in that clique, I want to be in that top 4. And now they've for the most part, welcome me with open arms, and we all kind of bounce ideas off each other, especially Kevin Iglesias. Kevin's great. Yeah. And so here we are.
Yeah, that's like a killer crew. I always see like you guys have like those events, and there's like Kevin, you got
Kevin, you got Stephen King,
Jamie's like a killer.
Oakar Reinstein. Yeah, Kevin Collins. I'm definitely missing some, but there's a bunch.
There's a bunch of them, So I don't know, how did you do it? Like, how are you? 8 months in, 9 months in, whatever it is.
Yeah.
How are you getting like that leads to do the volume? Like
So
referrals. I'm assuming. Like how does
these
it all come?
questions, everybody asks these questions, and I hate the painful panels and breakfasts and like top producer this and that, and everybody gets up there and says that they do nothing or they do mailers. I say the same thing every time, and there's no lie. I mean, I've tried Boomtown, I've tried. What else have I tried? I tried Zillow. I still do Zillow. I think Zillow's good. I think that's Zillow is tough because you have to spend money to make money, and you have to have good referral partners. Like some of the heavier accounts in that company, it would blow your mind what people spend. I chip away at it. I'm not saying I'm frugal when it comes to that platform, but I feel like I can't sit still. So when it's not working, I pivot out and move on to other things. But I am very, very big with marketing where you're relevant. So where I live and grew up, I'm a South Shore, Suffolk County guy. I couldn't tell you, I couldn't name 3 people who live in Miller Place or Shoreham, or besides maybe guys at work. But for me, the marketing has to come from within. You can't be relevant in other neighborhoods if you're not relevant in your own. So I definitely, slam mailboxes, I cold call, I door knock, I do all that stuff. I mean, I definitely don't do it like other people do. I'll say this, Mike, I've done it. It's not it's a more of a past tense thing. Now what I'm starting to realize is that I've become a more of a relevant name, and it's not nowhere near like the people we mentioned in my own company, no less other ones. But I feel like now Sean Manning and Over South, it's kind of like slowly picking up steam, where 100%. I'm starting to see my early deals from last year turning into referrals now. So that's definitely something that helps out. There's also a couple of cool platforms that people do with through Google and Spotify and YouTube, where you do it's an ad-based platform where it bounces people and launches them to your website. So I have a really good web designer who made a cool, easy, clean site, and it helps. I have a little address and information grabber on there that people plug in their info, it saves it, and sends it to me, and it helps. I definitely wake up, it's not every day, but I could say at least once a week I wake up with somebody saying, hey, I saw the house you sold on so-and-so, there was an ad here, and maybe you could help me out. Is that, putting food on the table every week? No, but it definitely helps. I think when you take everything I'm saying and you roll it into one, it's huge. But your referral partners are bar none. I mean, I'm talking to one of them right now. So your referral partners are definitely huge. You got to have a super, super strong support system.
Yeah, no, it's like there's a lot there. Like, I mean, same thing with investing. I got the website, and I rank for certain keywords like fairly high in the top 5. Not number 1 or anything like that, but listen, it gets me a lead here and there. I mean, it's not like a legit lead, like a real good one.
Mike, I've tried HomeSnap's platform. You got to spend money to make money in that sense. Listen, there's a lot of people who've been in my community in the South Shore of Suffolk County who are their real estate. Like when you think, something as silly as like lip balm, everybody calls it chapstick because that's the brand. In my community, when you think of your house, there's 4 or 5 people. These men and women are like the pit bulls. They crush it. So starting to scratch
in like Sayville,
in the Sayville, Bayport, Oakdale area, they're the most relevant. So for me, what impresses me about what we have going on is that out of all the deals we've done, I'm at around 40 deals, and there's about another 12 or 13 pending right now, and some of them are closing before the new year. Still, we just had one close today in East Meadow. Tara from my team crushed that. It's good, but those deals and what you're doing there, a lot of that has to do with the hustle. And this deal, believe it or not, the house that went to contract in 48 hours in West Sayville, 40 Cherry, that is the first home that I'm attached to in Sayville. So put that into perspective.
Wow.
This is my community. This is where my biggest support system is. This is probably one of the South Shore communities, because I bopped around a little bit where I've lived, that I think I'm somewhat relevant, and that's the first home. So
Wow.
now that that's happening, I think that it's just gonna rocket ship from here, and I hope so.
That's incredible. Yeah, dude, you should come to where I live and start marketing around here in Oyster Bay, because literally I can't name, like, you think of the top agents in my town, like, it's a small town, not a lot of inventory.
No, Oyster Bay is
But
beautiful.
it's like I can't think of anyone. There's like not one person. Like I watch all the listings.
Yeah.
I don't recognize like the same name coming up like twice or three times.
Wow.
There isn't a guy. I feel like if I were to look it up, there's probably like if you sold 2 homes, you're like the number 1 realtor in Oyster Bay.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. No, but
So-
see, but you know what it is over there too. Like I mean, maybe I'm just gonna, before I say it, I'll ask you. I mean, how does it compare inventory wise? Is it? I'm assuming it's you find a lot less homes for sale in that community than you do predominantly by me, or no? What would you say?
Yeah, like so. Oyster Bay is East Norwich, where I actually live, and I always tell people East Norwich. I think I'm living in Connecticut.
Connecticut.
So-
That's fun. Yeah.
So it's East Norwich, Oyster Bay, and not a lot of inventory. School districts like ridiculous, maybe like a few hundred kids for the whole school district. I would say no, not a lot of inventory. In East Norwich is maybe like 6 homes for sale. Oyster Bay maybe like 10 homes for sale.
Okay.
So it's probably like a little neighborhood in Sayville would be like the
In
size
a
of
little
Oyster
pocket.
Bay.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
But you know what it is, dude. If you saw like so, I grew up in Bayville, Locust Valley, that school district, and now I'm in the next town over, Oyster Bay. If you were to take those 2 districts together and just like geography, dude,
Yeah.
it's like half of Nassau County.
Wow.
But there's not a lot of like
But not a
homes,
lot of
because there's
homes.
got 4 acre mansions, 6 acre mansions all over the place. So it's just spread out.
And
Weird.
people, I mean, that's the type of place, especially with the price point, you would think people move there and then stay there. It's, would you say you
a
don't
lot
see
of-
much turnaround in the neighborhood? Okay.
Put your kid in the district, a great school district, things of that nature. But listen, I'm not saying I don't live in a mansion. I'm not saying I live in a mansion. But but people, I drive 2 seconds on the street and it's
Yeah.
there. But dude, so how do you do it? I know you have a full-time job. So
Yes.
for people that are just watching this for the first time, you work full-time.
Yeah.
And you're the top of you're like a top realtor at the brokerage that you are associated with.
Yeah.
So you crush it. How are you able to manage both the business and the job, the
Yeah.
family life, things of that nature?
It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. I'll say that, I hate using the words part-time. Excuse me, Mike. I hate using the words part-time to describe what I do with real estate, but it technically is part-time. And I hate saying that because it's a disservice, and it's like it's undermining how much work I really put into this. But it also, I don't ever want anybody else to think that here I am coming up here and being like, oh, I hit 62 home runs playing 60 games. That's not what I'm trying to say, but it is a reality. I have a full-time job. I've been in law enforcement with 2 different departments for the last 17 years, and I still go all in there. That will 100% always be my baby. If tomorrow somebody sent a letter to my house and said, hey, buddy, we need that license back, it would bother me because I'm passionate about this, if you can't tell. But I have everything I have in life before I started this, and that's, again, not bragging, but that's a blessing. So I think, and some of the other people, like yourself, who've been involved with this longer than me, everybody always says, no, that's what makes you more successful. And that's what gives you the ability to not stress as much, because I do get paid every 2 weeks. I have the health benefits, I have the retirement plan, I have everything. And that's great.
Right.
But also, to my defense, that's great to have, and who wouldn't want that? I also have another job to do, and I do
Right.
it. I do it well, and I give it 100 million gazillion %, 7 days a week, even when I'm not working. So, especially the position that I have there. So it's not easy. I have a good support system at home. 3 kids are tough. My wife's a rock star, and one of the reasons, the main reason I started a team is I need the ability to be at multiple places at once. I think this might be the first listing in my short career that I actually didn't have to bother them about
Okay.
because other ones I'm like, hey, I need you to pick up Tuesday all day. Like I
Okay.
work, I can't do it. So that is a big help. Although this listing, my one of the agents on my team brought the buyer, and so I still needed their help. So, but that's it's definitely not easy.
And it's the drive too, right? Because like,
Yeah.
dude, you have two jobs, or you have the job in this, so.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the same thing, man. Like, I'm an
Yeah,
accountant.
no,
I
of
work
course, yeah.
60s. I mean, during busy season, 70,
can't
80
even
hours a week.
imagine in the spring.
And then I'm doing this. It's so hard. And then I'm running a business. So it's like, dude, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to your drive because, all right now, I'm doing a freaking podcast. It's 9 o'clock on a Thursday. I'd be doing this on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday. It doesn't matter.
Of course.
But most people would be like, you know what? I want to go watch a movie and just chill out for the night and go to bed.
Yeah.
Like, no, dude, I worked every day this year.
No,
Like, there wasn't a day I
believe
took off, and that's what it takes. It's really the drive. And I'm sure you can attest to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, after there's a lot of sleep. I don't wear glasses. These are like those blue light because I've been staring at my phone, the computer, and MLS, and like this is the grays in my beard. Like everything is coming full circle. This real estate career is definitely aging me quicker than I'd like, but it helps, and I love it.
And listen, I'm sure you don't even need to do this. It's really for me, it's to set up the kids, get a bunch of rental properties, set them up generational, quote unquote generational wealth that we talk about. But that's a whole other conversation.
We have a rental that's in our family. It's
Nice.
my wife's side, my in-laws, and I've been very, I guess you could say, accustomed to just being the pivot person to make sure it's in Montauk to get that place rented all summer.
That's
And
sick.
I've always done it, through the complex, throwing alley oops to them, like, oh, I got this person, I got that, and again, just really because it's family and we want to get it rented, and it's a beautiful thing for us to have in the family. So, and the passive income there of just kind of sitting back and just turning it over every week it's worth it. So I think that too, going back to like what made you want to do this, that too, and realizing like, holy crap, just in my immediate circle in the police department, this place is rented. Like people are like 2024. Like I need that week, 4th of July. You gave it to him last year. I'm taking it. Like, so that's really cool. And now I got like a taste of that blood, and it's like, all right, here we go.
It's awesome.
We're situated. Things are going really good, knock on wood. Now let's start thinking about the generational wealth for the kids.
Yeah.
I'm just scratching the surface.
I was just going to say, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to get into the rentals at some point?
I don't know if I can manage, like my RAM is, this is not like a 1987 Macintosh. Like I can handle a lot, but I would rather, I like more, I'm a boater, so I like more of the beach scene and the summer scene.
Okay.
So I think for me, the next thing, and it's in the works right now, is a Fire Island purchase on Ocean Beach.
Nice.
So I have somebody else in my tight circle who we're exploring that as we speak now, back and forth negotiation for a beautiful property there that I see the potential in.
Nice.
That to me is worth it because it's not something I have to stress about all year round, and it also my parents gave me everything they could as a kid, but for my kids to be able to say, hey Dad, we're going to go zip over on the boat, for the weekend.
Oh yeah, you're right there.
That's really cool. So I'd like to do that. Now, granted, the cap rate on those types of properties don't always reflect the same amount of money you could make with these multifamily dwellings here. And I learned from you. I learned, there's a couple other people I won't mention because I don't know how they feel about it, but they definitely guide me in the right direction. But I think that would be next on that scale. I don't know if I can get into the full blown rental business like you do.
Yeah, no, I've never, I don't know enough about that market with the Fire Island, the Montauk rentals. I know people do Hampton Bays, and you can crush it.
You can crush it.
I don't know how I feel. I don't know enough about it. But if the market ever goes down, and like let's say things are trading, like dude, if you bought anything after Sandy, I mean, it's worth 3 times more, 4 times more than it, and you're crushing it, and
Yeah.
you're making 50 grand a week or whatever, some crazy number
Yeah.
on the rental side. So you can really do well. I just don't know enough
Absolutely.
about it.
No, that's true. It's always the unknown. And again, I had somebody who recently helped me out, and they had this awesome Excel spreadsheet that they sent me to like kind of crunch numbers on a few different rental properties that I was thinking about getting into. And again, before that was even, at my fingertips, I'm doing this stuff like from my iPhone calculator. Like I'm wondering like, all right, so it's the taxes. Maybe I have to paint the inside. We'll do new siding. Like, I'm good with that. I've renovated a few properties before, so I can't do it myself. I'm lucky if I can hang a few picture frames, but I know what stuff costs. I know when you're getting clubbed and when you're
Yeah.
not. So, but I like that type, I guess because of the Montauk Place, the condo that we have, I like the ability to say, all right, you know what, that's out there. Let's maybe get something on Fire Island. Me and my wife love zipping over there on the boat. We dock over at Matthews or one of the restaurants, and just that's a night out for us. And we're fortunate enough to be able to do those cool things.
Nice.
I definitely love to own a property over there.
That's cool, man. So what are you seeing in the market? How's the market going?
Yeah.
Slowing down at all, or still
this
still
is like
fast?
dude. I'm as regular and transparent as they come. You could fucking ask 1,000 different people, and everybody's going to have their own, weather report on what's going on. I'll tell you this, like, for me, it's there, and I said this with my good friend and one of my referral partners, Eric Braun. We had a little thing at his office and we discussed it, and I think it's all micro markets. I think that if you ask me the general consensus for Suffolk County, I would say that it's slower. There's no doubt about it. It's definitely slower. I think the price adjustment hasn't happened that people were calling for. I think people smartened up. I wouldn't say it's a wide scale, smartening up where people are softening the prices. I think that the houses that are priced right in the communities where there's no availability, those houses are going to sell quicker. It's like anything else. I don't care if it's 2008 when I bought my first house or if it's 2022. If you look in Bayport and there's 2 houses for sale south of Middle Road and the rates are at 7%, those 2 houses are going to command a price point and traffic more than they would in a community where the rates are lower at the time period, I should say, and there's 20 houses available. That's just my opinion. It's this day old Billy Madison speech with, economy and supply and demand. Like, that's it. If look at this house I listed 2 days ago on 40 Cherry, West Sayville. There's never been a house that sold in that community, Mike, for more than, I think, low sevens. Okay, we asked $899, and I can't divulge the numbers, but when that closes, you're gonna see, and your eyes are gonna be like, holy shit, forget about me. I mean, I think I can do things okay, but that house was beautiful, and kudos to the seller for picking the right time period. I had a few people told me, you got to pair one on you to list that the week before Christmas. Hold off.
It's slow.
I didn't.
Right.
I said no. I go, why do that? So then 3 of the neighbors or 2 other houses in the community come on the market after 1-1, and now my seller has people coming to their house and then that open house.
100%.
So I think the market, you have to really dissect specific areas. I personally love working east of the Moriches area where you come into West Hampton Beach, Quogue. I wish I did all my deals out there because for me, having the 2 jobs, I try to work smarter, not harder. And I seem to keep working harder. But though out there, I think that my personality, not being the cookie cutter realtor and excelling, my skill set is more talking to people as I'm rambling on. It helps me a little bit more out there when there's a million freaking realtors in Central. It just there's 40 who probably live. I know at least 5 who live in my neighborhood. I can't even imagine how many others there are. So, based on each specific geographical location, it's just different. But it is still for the right house, the right time. It's still good.
Interesting. So, what are some upcoming markets? Like, I know, like, there's doing developments at Ronkonkoma, Wyandanch, like those trains, the train stop hubs, right?
Yeah.
But anything other than that, like, what are you seeing as far as like any upcoming markets on Long Island? The Hamptons, maybe.
I would say this. I would say that a lot of people are, and I'm sure you've had other people talk about this, and maybe I'm the first person to bring up the East End side, but I think I could, to help anybody out who's watching or who ends up listening and wants to maybe get a little tidbit that can help them. I'll speak on the Hamptons. Most people, and coming from somebody who, again, the Montauk rental in my family, most people don't want to make that trek all the way out to Montauk as much as they did. Now, I don't want to piss anybody off who's realtors and brokers out in Montauk. It's great out there. I sold a beautiful house a couple months ago on 235 Fairview in Montauk. It's great. But I notice, and this is just me, you asked, I notice a lot of my clients who live out west, meaning further west than Nassau County, they don't want that additional hour and a half traffic once you hit that Shinnecock Bridge. They don't want that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are starting to find, like, just setting up shop like it's the Oregon Trail, just dropping everything and realizing, holy shit, West Hampton Beach is awesome. Probably one of my favorite places. I got married there. I used to live in Hampton Bays. Fauna's probably my favorite restaurant on Long Island right now, the Old Starbucks. That is an amazing community, a great school district. Like, it's awesome. So for me, I would say that if you're looking to buy something to rent or even if you're looking for a primary residency, I'm seeing a huge uptick in my short career that they're limiting their searches to the westernmost Hamptons areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get that. I mean, I've been to West Hampton like once or twice.
Yeah.
I loved it. I don't know enough about it, like you're saying. Yeah. What about like Cinema Riches? Because if you want something on the water, like can't you get something there? Like, I don't want to say cheap, but like comparative to the Hamptons.
Yeah, it's not going to be cheap. I mean, price point wise, it's you start getting into West Hampton Beach and Quogue and Amagansett and not Amagansett, Remsenburg, Spionk, and you keep going further east and east. The price points, there's no secret. I don't have to tell you. They're high, not high, but higher. Cinema Riches is beautiful. I know a few people who live in the Wilcox Farms area, and the houses there are absolutely like the type of houses where like the neighbors ride golf carts to each other's houses, like just sick, like backing up the canals. The Cinema Riches Yacht Club is right over there.
That's cool. That
is a great community. I just represented a client who bought a beautiful house on Dune Road. And they're actually it's on Bayside, so they're actually planning on living all year round in the Dune Road house at a certain point, maybe not this year, but they are. And they're going to have, well, I hope so, they're going to have me sell their East Moriches home. That's also waterfront. So just speaking to them, who they've raised their kids and made home there forever, they seem to think that market there, everything, like I mentioned with the Hamptons, is starting to drift further and further west, where East Moriches is, it's going to require a king's ransom for some really nice properties over there. So I love it. I think that's all great areas.
Another one, dude, I was driving for dollars in like Bellport, the northern Bellport, and I just stumbled across Bellport Village.
Oh,
it's fucking beautiful.
It's absolutely
beautiful
gorgeous. It is. You have you'd be surprised how many celebrities from Anne Hathaway. I watched Anne Hathaway. I took my pizza out from Papa Nick's Pizza, unbelievable pizza in Bellport Village. I used to work right around in that area. So like all the restaurants, all the local shops and stuff. That was home at one point for me. And I go to get my pizza. I walk out and there's Anne Hathaway. Like it's
she lives out there.
Tiki Barber, Isabella I think it's Isabella Rossellini. I think that's her last name. I'm drawing a blank, but it's becoming I think it was the Times or the Post. Somebody did a really good, if you Google it, it comes right up. They did a really cool article on Bellport Village and how it's becoming like a midway stop to the Hamptons with that same vibe.
It is.
I had a listing in Bellport Village on 2nd Street that just a great house, but it's Bellport Village, another one. Great.
Unbelievable. You grew up in Bellport?
I grew up in Bellport, yeah.
Was you sport? You played sports, right?
I played sports, yeah. I played football. I was the quarterback for a really, really, really good team. I had a lot of studs around me, so
yeah, you guys were amazing.
I got carried a little bit, yeah. But no, we had a really good run. I hate there's nothing more painful than, talking about high school sports when you're almost 40. So, but because I know the questions, it's like anytime at work we joke around about what we did years ago. The second high school sports come out, people start calling you Uncle Rico and Al Bundy. Belport is, and shout out to Belport too. They just won the Suffolk County Championship in football. Ran into a
Did
buzz.
they really?
Yeah, they ran into a buzzsaw against Garden City and ended up losing in the Long Island Championship. But they one of my really good friends, Kyle Moot, coaches the offensive line. He was one of my linemen in high school, and they have a really good program.
Oh, that's right. They're in Division II now. They used to be Division I.
No,
I could be wrong.
Belport was mostly Division II, and then after I left, enrollment dropped a little bit, and they went down to 3. Because obviously, I know in sports it goes by enrollment, so the enrollment dropped a little bit. They went from 3 back to 2, but they're in 2 now, and they always have a stud team. Yeah,
because I think of like the top teams. I always think William Floyd and Belport. These are the top 2 teams.
William Floyd, Belport, Longwood, East Islip, West Islip. I mean,
Sayville's good.
Sayville is nasty. They have
Sayville's good.
I don't know where they get these quarterbacks from. It's like a puppy mill for just star quarterbacks lately. From Jack Cohn, before him, Jack Crushire, the kid they had this year. They're just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like a lot of athletic kids. They have a great program. Just every sport. Because like when I went to Post, we played lacrosse at Post.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of Sayville guys in the team, and they were just nasty. They were just. Yeah. And we would like go to some of their high school games and just like they would crush kids. They crush teams. I
have a guy I work with who is a sick athlete. Who another detective I work with who lives in the community still, and he played football and lacrosse and won a national championship at New York Tech. And I joke around all the time about Sayville, who do they play? They play And now living over here and watching the games, you're like, holy crap, they could play anybody. So it's cool.
Your buddy who played at Tech, was he? He's from Sayville.
He's from Sayville, yeah. Exactly.
I played with his brother.
Offline, but you mentioned that's a stud. Yeah.
They're that whole family. They're really good. I played with both their brothers. His 2 younger brothers.
Great family. They. It's funny. A quick tidbit before we, the next topic, or wherever, how much time you have. But Sayville 2 years ago, during COVID. I don't know if you remember, a couple of teams in football, their games would just get canceled. Like you'd have a game Saturday, and one day you'd find out there weren't enough kids to play, and there was a COVID.
Oh, wow.
So Sayville and William Floyd were both undefeated. They both had games that got canceled because their opponents, an outbreak of COVID.
Okay.
I don't know. It's become like an urban legend in the community, but I was told that Sayville reached out to William Floyd and said, "Hey, listen, we'll come play you." Now, mind you, William Floyd.
They don't play.
That's like a college program. I shouldn't say program, but size-wise. William Floyd is undefeated. They're Division I. They graduate, I'm guessing, I don't know this, I'm close to 1,000 kids. It's like a Sachem. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's a lot bigger than Sayville. Sayville goes on the road to William Floyd and completely kicks their ass and shuts them out.
Really?
That in itself, people don't even talk about that game and what they haven't played each other. I think they might have played like once in like the 70s or 80s, but that's when I started to say, all right, this little small program over here is legit.
No, they are legit. I didn't know about that game. That's so interesting. And they don't play each other, right? Because they're in different divisions. They'll never play each other.
Never play each other.
Unless they scrimmage or whatever. But that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we'll wrap it up. Last question. Yeah. What are some of your goals, man? Like, what are you trying to do on the real estate side?
All right, so it's a great question, and everybody, I'm not as structured with my goals like some people are. My goals, because of both careers, they're there and they're always attainable. I believe they are, but sometimes they have to get priority-wise, they might get moved around a little bit. But I would say for real estate, my goal is to just continue to grow the team and grow the people on the team. So I am fortunate enough to now be working around a couple of really, really good realtors that are young in their career, like younger than me in their career. And they're crushing it. They're knocking out deals left and right. And I really want them to grow. And because ultimately the time that you spend training and the phone conversations, the late nights, that's awesome. And I love that. I love that, like, the camaraderie. Like, I'm a sports guy. I love the locker room mentality. Like, hey, Mike calls me up. All right, let's talk about it. I'm a problem solver. Let's fix it. But you also realize it's a lot of fucking time you waste doing that. So, like, with the team, kind of starting to run on autopilot. If we can really, all of us, kick business up another notch, I don't have numbers set in mind. I really don't. Just building them and growing their business, it's going to grow all of our business. So that's my main goal, is really creating a little powerhouse with Over South.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, it's like a satisfaction to seeing other people grow.
Yeah.
You know, like at my job, I manage, you know, at times up to like 10 people, you know,
Wow.
but it's nice to like see them getting better and growing. And, you know, if you have anything that you could like, if you could see that you contributed to them, it's like, it makes you feel a little better. But yeah, dude. All right. I really appreciate you coming on, man. Sean Manning, Realty Connect.
Yeah.
You're the man. Thanks so much, bro.
Listen, dude, and Mike, I mean this when I say it. You're a great dude. Anybody who is watching and hasn't dealt with Mike before, Mike will give you the shirt off his back, and I really mean that. So thanks for having me on, and have a good night. I'm going to go watch the end of this crummy Jets-Jaguars game.
All right, man. That's a wrap.
Take care, bro.
Thanks, man.
All right, take care.